Hello and welcome to Segments with Mark and Amber. Segments is an entertainment and comedy podcast where in each episode, Amber and I choose a topic and we talk about it in a variety of segments. My name is Mark, and with me, as always, is my number one, Amber.
Ooh, that was a good one. Do you think it gave anything away?
I imagine everybody knows exactly what we're talking about now.
I'm Amber. This is episode 51, and we are talking about leaders in pop culture space.
Full speed ahead, number one.
Leaders in space. Space leaders.
Put him in the brig, number one.
Fictional space leaders. Yeah, you've got a lot of quotes from space leaders.
Get him on the comms, number one.
Make it so.
Make it so. That's a good one.
The format of today's show is we've got first a little segments tribute. We've got our top 5 leaders in space and a quiz that is already cracking Mark up.
Yeah, I've been laughing about it for about 24 hours now. So Amber, I have a real short Hanks, but no thanks.
Ooh, yay.
And I didn't think it was good enough for a full-fledged segment, so I'm
Okay,
just going to throw it out here.
Gotcha.
He just gave Geena Davis an award for she did something about equality for women in the acting world.
And then she was mad at him?
No, she was happy. They're both 63 years old.
Okay.
And they were both in the baseball movie.
Yeah, there's no crying in baseball.
Exactly. And he said, just like her character in that movie, she stood up for women's rights in the Hollywood. So I probably missed some things, but so good.
So he's in the news, is what you're saying.
He's in the news. He's still out there. He's
It's
still
not
doing
one of those
great
things where somebody's saying no thanks to Tom Hanks.
Oh,
But it is
yeah.
a thing.
Well,
about him.
there's another article that I read where Tom said thanks to 2 friends that really helped him out when he was a struggling actor. They let him sleep on his couch. They taught him how to fill out a tax return.
Wow.
And he said if it wasn't for those guys, I can't remember their names, he would not be where he is today.
Interesting. So that was probably like the first week that he was an actor or something, because I feel like he was successful pretty fast.
Well, we don't know what led up to that moment.
True.
You know. Exactly. True. So, thanks, Tom.
All right.
All right, well, there you go, Amber. And you said we don't have any corrections or apologies?
Nope, we knew everything about our 50th episode.
We did. If there's one thing we know, it's ourselves. So that's very, very good.
If you want to find us, you can leave feedback or corrections on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at SegmentsCast, or you can email us, segmentscast@gmail.com.
That is right. All right, Amber, I would love for you to share with our listeners this amazing feedback that we got from our good friend Brian.
Yeah, this was composed while we were recording our last episode, so a couple of weeks ago. It came in just after the deadline to fit it in. We considered trying to edit it in, but, we already had perfection going.
Exactly.
For episode 50, and this one really needs to stand alone. This kind of sets the bar for the rest of you, and this, to be honest, we didn't have any other feedback
That's true.
to read this time, but it may intimidate people providing future feedback because it's so amazing.
I like to think that it'll bring inspiration.
Okay. We could have a whole nother recurring segment called Tributes if anybody else wants to add one.
I like that. That's a great idea.
So it starts like this. Here's a goofy little segments compilation story I wrote. I guess I should tell you, this is a best friend of the show, Brian.
That's right. Thank you, Brian.
I couldn't get everything in without it being crazy long. You can use it in your podcast if you want, but don't worry about me being upset if you don't. I love that.
I was worried about him being upset.
Oh, I would be. I worry about everything. So here we go. It says, a silly segment story. Amber put down the television remote and closed her eyes. The weather was getting cooler, and she liked to imagine all the autumn decorations she would put up if she was the kind of person that put up decorations. She was considering baking some pumpkin cookies for Mark, but he didn't appreciate them the way she did.
That's
So true.
I don't remember talking about that on
I know,
air,
it's
but
amazing.
we must have. It was great.
It's definitely true. She wondered where Mark was. He might be in the backyard, but she wouldn't know. She hadn't been in her backyard in years.
That is true.
She wondered what to make for dinner. She considered roasting some chicken, but she couldn't decide what kind of potatoes to have with it. Potatoes were, after all, the most important part of any meal. She knew she wasn't going to make au gratin, that's for sure.
And that's way back to episode 3.
I know. I'm so impressed.
That's crazy.
Meanwhile, Mark looked up from his computer where he was typing up an email to his boss, trying to convince him to make his next mission trip to bring his message of hope to the Gungan people of Naboo. He'd been practicing his Gungan a lot lately. Misa getting hungry, Mark said out loud.
You said loving Jesus? That would be what it would be like in a mission trip.
Yes. He thought about going down to the kitchen and getting some chips. Not pretzels, though, since they obviously weren't chips. Then he looked up at his posters of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Tom Hanks and thought about what great movies they'd made. He wondered what new Marvel or Star Wars blockbuster movies might be made next year. He really hoped they would finally put one of his favorite actors, Shia, in one.
Now that would be great. If
Yeah.
Shia could get in Marvel or Star Wars, like that would be...
I feel like he could do either.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he is such a good actor. He
Yeah.
could literally be in anything.
There's another podcast I listen to where they used to, every time they review a movie, they say, could Shia have been in it? And now they say, obviously he could be in it, but what role would he play?
I like that.
They're big Shia fans too. All right, we've got a little more here. Finally, Mark went to go find his lovely wife so they could plan what delicious foods they wanted to serve at their holiday party before they recorded their milestone 50th episode of their podcast segments. He could hear her practicing her auctioneering voice in the living room. She was definitely improving.
That's kind of like your auctioneering
Very
voice.
much like it. Amber loves television and has a long list of sitcoms and episodes of Big Brother to watch, but she also loved recording the podcast, so she was going to put her TV time on hold tonight. She grabbed a bowl of cereal and went to join her husband to make the segment's magic happen.
Oh, man, it's so good.
I love it. There's so many little inside tidbits.
Yeah. And hopefully at our 100th episode, Brian has another one.
Oh, man, you'll
Wouldn't
have
that be
50 new
awesome?
episodes
50
worth of
new
information, so
episodes.
start taking notes tonight.
Do you think he just has a file of
I think
notes?
so.
So good.
Thank you so much. We feel honored and we feel known. It's wonderful.
That is great. All right, well, let's jump into our this first thing. This is not a segment, or at least it's not labeled a segment on our rundown.
It's not labeled on our rundown, but it is recurring, and it feels like a segment.
It does, but it doesn't. It's not one topic.
It doesn't
I think
reflect our
that's-
topic.
It doesn't
You're right.
reflect the
Right
topic.
in our
So
description.
It feels like it needs something else. Not a segment. It's a something else. I need another word
Yeah.
that's like a synonym.
Synonym of segment.
Yeah. Slice.
Piece.
Does anybody use slice?
I could think of somebody.
All right. Well, here's our slice. What's making you happy right now? So, Amber, would you like to begin?
I could go. I brought a prop.
You brought a prop. Okay.
What's making me happy is this new hand soap I discovered. I'm real picky about soaps and smells. Just like Gus on Psych, I have a super sniffer, and smells can really get to me. They can really make my day, or they can really make me angry.
Very rarely does it make her day. FYI, segments listeners.
You can work that into the next story, Brian. This one makes my day. That's why it's so important to mention. It's kind of a plain looking bottle. It's called Everyone for Everybody hand soap.
It doesn't look impressive.
No, it doesn't. And it's not a foam style, which is what I really like. But I was smelling different soaps, of course, to test them out. And I love the way they smelled in the store. And luckily it held up at home. The smell is Meyer Lemon and Mandarin. So if you are into a citrus smelling soap, this is made with plant extracts and pure essential oils. It has no triclosan, no synthetic fragrances, no parabens. Apparently it's healthy. That is not a prerequisite for me liking a soap. But it is good. These pure essential oils does leave you feeling a little moisturized. But there's something about the smell. It's like you just sliced a tangerine and a lemon. And it's on your hands. And it's the most invigorating, delightful smell. It makes me want to like dance a little jig when I wash my hands. I've considered getting it for all the sinks and not just the kitchen. But then what if I get too used to it and I can't enjoy it so
Welcome
much?
to Amber's life.
I might get desensitized and lose some of the joy.
Yeah, Amber can't enjoy anything out of fear that if she enjoys it too much, she will soon not be able to enjoy it anymore. So that's a fun place to be.
I'm still with you.
Yeah.
I just make sure I don't enjoy you too much.
Touche. Oh my goodness.
So if anybody wants some deets about that, you can DM me. I will send you a picture of my great soap. I got it at Meijer in the soap aisle.
Nice.
Mark, what's making you happy right now?
Well, Amber, what's making me happy right now is that as we record this, it is currently a Tuesday. A little behind the scenes, we pre-record these, edit them, and then put them out.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
And so it's Tuesday, October 29th.
Whoa.
And on November 1st, the witching day, is that what, or the witching hour?
It's
The day
All
after that.
Saints Day.
It's All Saints. On November 1st.
The holiest day.
The holiest of days. Is my very first Academy Street Winds concert.
Nice.
At 8 o'clock at the Light Fine Arts building over on the K College campus.
Nice.
So I'm very, very excited about this concert. We've been working on it for 6 or 7 weeks now, and it's finally here. I'm going to try to get this episode out in time that if somebody listens to it, they can go, man, I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah.
I'm at 8 o'clock. I'm going to fly over there. My instructor, or not the instructor, the band director, sent out an email saying that if every one of us got 10 people to come, there wouldn't be enough room for everybody.
Whoa.
But if we all got 7 people to come, there would be enough room.
It's a real tight window.
So I got Molly, Mom, and you.
Okay,
so
you've
I've
got room.
4 listeners can come. And if you do, we'll give you a segment sticker. Just find Amber.
Okay, yep, sure.
I'll be on stage. I did get moved. My seat got moved right to the edge of the stage. I was like, this is great. Amber's going to be able to see me really good. But this clarinet lady that's near me said that I tapped my foot too much.
Oh, no.
And I was a little bit worried about that. I've been trying not to tap my foot so much. But now they have moved a big xylophone right in front of me. So you'll still be able to see like my head.
Okay.
But maybe I don't think it was because of my tapping. But
you told the story in a way that makes you think it was.
yeah, there's part of me that feels like it's.
She have a lot of sway. Clarinet lady.
I don't know if she has a lot of sway, but she has a lot of spunk.
Interesting.
And she's not one of those kind of people that's like, I'm not gonna say what I think.
You think she's an Enneagram 8?
She very well might be, and. She was going to say something about my foot tapping at the practice prior to the one that she confronted me on, but this other young person came and she sat between the two of us, and she's pretty sure he was on drugs.
Okay. So it clearly had bothered her for more than one practice. She just didn't tell
bothered
you.
her, but she had to deal with this high clarinet player first. So, anyway, I love the Academy Street Winds. I can't wait for the next concert that we're doing. We're gonna after Friday we'll get all brand new music.
Ooh.
It's gonna be great. So very excited.
What theater did you say?
It's the Light Fine Arts building, and it's called the Dalton Theater.
Okay, but not at Western.
No, at K College.
K College.
Yes. So.
Well, yay.
Yeah. So I feel like if we have stalkers, we've just given them a lot of information.
Yeah, but not where we live.
So if they're going to abduct us, it'll have to be after the concert.
Okay.
Segment 1. Take me to your leader. All right, Amber, what this segment is where we are going to talk about our top 5 leaders in space. But it was going to be in TV and movies, but we've pulled it back. No, we didn't.
Well, I have she's in a show too. She's a movie and a show.
I was under the impression that we were removing movies from the table.
At one point I did, but then I had such a hard time.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, this was my Kobayashi Maru. I love shows about space, but I had a real hard time thinking of a leader that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So, Amber, I don't really want to focus on this, but this is the first time that you failed
Yeah.
at a top 5.
Good news, everybody fails at the Kobayashi Maru.
That's true.
Except for Kirk.
That's right. He did it. So, Amber, this isn't a failure. A lot of times we look at what seems to be failure as just something that strengthens us and makes us better for next time.
Okay.
So turn that frown upside down. And so since you only have 4, does that mean you should start or I should start?
I mean, I can say a 5th one. It's just kind of not well defined.
Okay, give us your garbage one first.
Battlestar Galactica.
Okay, I love. That's it.
Yeah. Here's my thing, though.
One of the
I
leaders.
loved that show, at least the first few seasons. I loved it so much, and I went through each leader in my mind, and I could think of a time when I hated them, and I was like, oh, I can't pick that one because they drove me crazy at a certain point, even if I really liked them at other points. But what I've decided is Battlestar Galactica made them all really human. They all had serious flaws to their character in addition to the great things. And so maybe that was the sign of a really good show, a really realistic show, that each of them had some like really bad decisions that they made and things that they did that drove me crazy.
Yeah, and see, that seems interesting to me because you like the bad boy.
I know.
You know, you don't
But
like
who would
somebody
be the
that's
bad
too
boy?
squeaky clean. You don't like
I
somebody
know.
that's squeaky clean.
I know. I don't know why I froze up so much.
Yeah,
So I considered Admiral Dama. I considered Starbuck. I considered Captain Tyrrell for some reason. I just liked him. Or not
Oh,
Captain.
yeah,
Is it
the fixer
Tyrrell?
guy,
Yeah,
the
the
mechanic guy.
mechanic. I considered Hilo for some reason. I think I was picturing the game, the board game,
Yeah.
to think of my people. I know I didn't like Ty.
What about Gaius?
No, I didn't like Gaius. I mean, I appreciated his character, but I wouldn't think of him as a leader I admired.
He led some stuff.
He did, for sure. The president, she led things even when she had cancer.
I know, she was real
She made a
bold.
lot of tough decisions, but man, her character irritated me. Because a lot of times she was against Adama, who I almost always loved. Mm-hmm. But there's something in my mind where I'm like, ooh, he failed me.
Do you feel like a woman couldn't be the president?
I mean, no, of course not.
I was just kidding. That was a joke. Oh, goodness. I think that's a good one. I mean,
So-
it's not really an answer to the
No,
question.
but I really tried to make it work. I put a lot of
Yeah,
research into it. I just couldn't pick one.
I just think you're doing
But I
great.
do think that was a great show.
It was a great show. So Amber's number 5 is nobody in particular from Battlestar Galactica.
That's right.
So Amber, my number 5 is Arthur Dent. Arthur Dent from Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes, awesome.
So it was a TV show. It was a terrible movie. There was a lot of books. That's where I ran into Arthur Dent, or The Hitchhiker's Guide the first time was a book series.
Yeah, me too.
And this, the book follows the adventures of Arthur Dent, who's the last surviving man after the demolition of the planet Earth by a Vogon constructor fleet to make way for a hyperspace bypass. Dent is rescued from Earth destruction by Ford Prefect, a human-like alien writer for eccentric electronic travel guide, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and on it goes. And he says, remember, you've got to bring a towel. That was kind of the big thing.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
bring a towel. So, and I don't really have a lot to say about it, but I remember reading, probably all of the books.
Yeah, I remember there's dolphins that are really smart. There's the answer to the
There's
universe.
42,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and then they've got the auto translator
Yeah.
thing that they put in his ear, and he goes on a lot of misadventures. And there is a guy by the name of Zaphod Beeblebrox. Zaphod Beeblebrox. And then the very, very sad alien, or the robot, Marvin, the
Oh,
depressed
yeah.
robot. So
Is Futurama somewhat based on that?
I can't imagine, but I guess it has a similar premise in that guy is, whatever his name is kind of the last human.
The last human, and the robot can be sad at times.
Maybe it is roughly tangential.
Interesting.
Anyway, so there you go, Amber. My number 5, Arthur Dent from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Good one. My number 4 leader in pop culture space is
TV shows.
is Hobo. No. He's my favorite. I've never said his whole name before. Real fans know who I'm talking about already. Hoban Washburn. So we just call him Wash. He's from Firefly.
Yes.
Listeners will be shocked to know that Mark has never seen all of Firefly.
I've not seen all of the episodes.
But Wash was the pilot, and so
Yeah.
he's considered a leader.
Who's the actor?
Alan Tudyk,
Oh,
I think is
so
how you
good.
say his name. He's great. He was recently in...
K2SO from Star Wars.
Yes, and he
Rogue One.
also plays Anne's dad, Pastor Veal, in Arrested Development.
Oh, that is such a good part. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
He's also been in Netflix's Santa Clarita Diet, which is about zombies with Drew Barrymore, and that also has Nathan Fillion, who was also in Firefly. So a little
Interesting.
tidbit. So Wash, a little backstory on him, as I looked it up, he was raised on a planet with no stars due to heavy pollution, and that's one of the reasons he became a pilot. I thought that was kind of a cool story. Originally, when he got brought on as Captain Mal's first officer, Zoe did not like him at all, but eventually they fell in love, and I always kind of like those stories of hate turning into love.
Kind of like our story.
No, not really, but they have a really cute relationship. So Zoe's super tough and in charge, but Wash always supports her and encourages her, and he never comes across as weak. So I really liked the way they did that. Sometimes you have the powerful female character, but then the man comes across as like submissive and weak, and he never did. He's funny, he's laid back, he's got a dry sense of humor. He has toy dinosaurs in the cockpit.
Like those dinosaurs.
Yeah. He would freak out really in kind of funny ways when some things are going bad, but when things got really bad, he was super calm. He had a mantra that he would repeat, I am a leaf on the wind, watch how I soar. Spoiler for anybody who's in the middle of Firefly or hasn't watched Serenity, he did die in the movie. Yeah, it was very, very sad. I could not understand why that happened. He was such a great character. His death did not seem important necessarily, but it was found out later at a Comic-Con that Joss Whedon would not have killed him if the show was going to continue. He just wanted like kind of a dramatic moment to close things out. But if the show had been continued, he would have kept him alive, which made the actor happy, and it makes me happy too. He also said he modeled his character after Xander from Buffy, which I think makes perfect sense. They're both very similar, kind of sense of humor, supporting, kind of funny, but not weak. I think that I can definitely see the similarities there. The only other tidbit I had about him is he was also the voice of Iago in the newer Aladdin movie.
Oh, that's great.
That's the actor more than the character.
Than the character.
But I really enjoyed the show Firefly, and I picked Wash as the leader I wanted to talk about from that show.
That's great. Well, Amber, my number 4, also from Firefly.
What?
It is Captain Mal Reynolds.
Well, great.
Now, I've not seen all of these,
Not even.
but I've seen multiples.
Did you see the movie?
Yeah, I saw the movie.
Oh, okay.
I saw the movie with your family.
Oh, wow.
So I have this hilarious thing. I think Amber's family was maybe really into Firefly, and so I couldn't be.
Well, they would go out of their way to tell you how much you would like it because it's similar to Star Trek, Indiana Jones, that type of thing.
Yeah, and so
that is a hard. It's a hard way to get your attention. You need to be a lot more gentle. Just kind of like dangle it behind a tree or something and see if it attracts Mark's attention.
Yeah.
Don't shove it in his face.
Yeah. I'm kind of a bad boy in that.
I like it.
Yeah. So I have at some point did watch numerous of the episodes. And so I picked Captain Mal Reynolds because he is kind of a swashbuckler kind of a guy. I like his trench coat. I like his kind of swarmy attitude, and I just like the way that he carries himself.
Yeah.
And so once we removed movies from the table, I felt like he was the most Han Solo-like character in television shows.
Okay.
I feel like if we saw behind the scenes, which we did a little bit in Solo, but the later years of Han Solo, I think he'd be doing a lot of those same things.
You're right.
He's trying to make a living, and he's moving cargo. He's working with the criminal underground.
Yeah,
he's trying to avoid the Empire.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I think he would have been doing a lot of those kind of things. And I actually really, really like Westerns.
Yeah.
And so Firefly was a real space Western. That's actually why I liked Solo so much, because it had so much Western influence in my mind to it, the train heist and that,
definitely.
kind of thing. So I do think that I would like to go back and watch all of the Firefly episodes. I'm not against it. I have a Firefly board game that's really, really fun. It takes a very long time to play, so I never play it, but it is very cool. And so I like his attitude. He's really into chicks.
That's how you know you got a top-notch leader.
Okay, that's my number 4, Mal Reynolds from Firefly. Amber, what's your number 3?
My number 3. Actually, I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do for number 3.
Oh my goodness, this is the point where you know.
Well, one of them's not really from a TV show. I forgot that I put that caveat on.
I've broken a lot of rules here.
Okay,
and that's actually how Kirk defeated the Kobayashi Maru, breaking the rules a little bit.
All right, I'm gonna go with Dr. Dick Solomon.
No idea.
I'd be shocked if anybody did. He is the lovable leader from Third Rock from the Sun.
Wow.
Played by John Lithgow.
What's a TV show?
It is a TV show. This is not my one. That's not a TV show yet. Third Rock from the Sun is the name of Earth. We're the third planet from the sun. Just a funny tidbit. I had lots of comedic misunderstandings when the show 30 Rock came out. People kept telling me they were watching 30 Rock and talking about how awesome it was. I was like, man, they're really getting into this show that's already been off the air for a little bit. Like, maybe it's on Netflix. Like, it was funny, but is it like comedic genius and I just missed it? Like, is it that good? I mean, I watched a lot of episodes of the show. I don't know if I watched them all. I looked it up on IMDb. It has 7.7 out of 10 stars, 44,000 ratings. So I'm not the only person that enjoyed it. It was on from 96 to 2001. It had 139 episodes.
Wow.
So this was the premise was it was a group of aliens sent to Earth disguised as a human family to experience and report life on the third planet from the sun. So I just think it was built for comedy. There are so many funny things if you think about alien exploring Earth for the first time.
Yeah, kind of like a Coneheads kind of thing.
Exactly, but less annoying.
Less annoying.
Much less
yeah,
annoying.
Well,
yeah. So our fearless leader, Dick Solomon, was pretty funny. He was clueless sometimes, but other times he came through for them. And so I just wanted to remember that show, and he's who I picked as my leader.
Nice. Well, now we all remember it, and we appreciate your pick.
Thank you.
My number 3 is from a little show from 1978 called Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, the old one.
The old one.
I never watched that.
Oh, it was so good. I'm not saying it was better. It certainly wasn't better than the 2000s, whatever that was. But this is the one that I watched. And so you're coming out of Star Wars, and there is a slew of space shows. And we might get to more later on, right? But Battlestar Galactica was one that my brothers and my friends and I watched all the time. And we know the premise is the great big battle star. They're fleeing Earth. They're fleeing the Cylons. They're looking, or no, they're not fleeing. Are they fleeing Earth? Or they're looking for Earth, aren't they? Yeah, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for Earth. They're fleeing wherever they're from. They're running away from the Cylons. And so in the 1978 version, my favorite character was Lieutenant Starbuck. All right. In the newer version, Starbuck is played by that wonderful
Katie
lady.
Sackhoff.
Oh, she's great. But in 1978, he was played by Dirk Benedict. Dirk Benedict, who you might remember as Face from the A-Team.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And he is one of the Viper starfighter pilots.
Yeah.
All right. He's a gambler. He's a bit of a womanizer.
Okay.
And he smokes cigars. And he is also involved with Lieutenant Athena. And I don't know what this means. The Wikipedia called it the Sociolator Cassiopeia. He is involved with Lieutenant Athena and Sociolator Cassiopeia. Have no idea what that could mean.
Is Cassiopeia a different person?
I think
and
it's
the
a person.
description of her is a sociolator.
Yes.
Probably somebody that's involved in society.
Social
society.
Things? I don't know. And obviously he's good friends with Captain Apollo. I didn't pick Apollo, though Apollo outranks him. But Apollo was kind of that straight-laced kind of Captain America guy. Starbuck is more of the Iron Man, kind of that rogue. He's gonna kind of do what he wants to do. He's not always following the rules.
Yeah.
And he was he's a handsome guy. He was blonde. He had they all wore these really cool kind of brown jackets. And the Vipers, the spaceships, the Vipers that they flew were the coolest spaceships. Are they cooler than X-Wings? Maybe.
Whoa, that's high praise.
It's great. And I thought the 2000s show upgraded the Vipers in a cool way, but they did have some of the old Vipers on the new show. It's kind of
cool.
these kind of, what do they call that? Like an Easter egg kind of a situation.
Oh, neat.
So anyway, I really liked him. And he's really into chicks. It's kind of the theme of my
Who was your other ones?
Mal Reynolds.
Yep.
And I don't know about Arthur Dent. It's probably you can't call girls chicks anymore.
Well, you could in 1978.
You could, yeah, exactly.
That's part of who his character was written to be in 1978.
Exactly.
We've come a long way since
yes,
then.
exactly. Okay.
All right.
So my number 3, Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica, 1978.
All right. Well, I will do my non. Well, she's probably in a little cartoon.
Okay, give it to me.
My number 2 leader in space is Princess Amidala.
Oh, well, yeah,
So-
she was in Clone Wars.
See, there's the TV show.
There we go. Yeah,
I
if
am
I would have thought
picturing-
of that, Amber.
I know. I am picturing her from the Attack of the Clones, episode 2,
Attack of the Clones,
Well,
episode
and-
2. Yeah.
and episode 1.
Episode 1 where she's the
Yeah. Starting
she's
in
the
episode
queen.
1. So I
Yeah.
really appreciated who she was, how she was respected and honored, even though she was so young.
Mm-hmm.
That was really interesting. But she just kind of like carried it. She didn't seem intimidated by that, being so young. And I liked her whole thing with having a decoy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being so confused when the toys came out.
Yes.
Like, why is there a Padme and an Amidala? Like, who
Mm.
are these people? And I don't know if we didn't have IMDb back then or if they were trying to keep it a secret. I didn't know for sure if it was the same person. And then even when you're watching the show, Amidala has so much makeup on that you can't really tell that it's Padme the first time you
Exactly.
watch it. So I thought that was a cool idea, I guess, for her protection, although she puts herself, when she's acting like Padme, in a lot of really dangerous situations. So she goes into Tatooine against the recommendation of her Admiral Panaka. No, what is his name?
Panaka, yeah.
Panaka, Captain
Yeah,
Panaka.
Captain
He's
Panaka.
not an admiral. That was kind of risky for her. And when you think of when you really know she's the queen and she's just like hanging out with Anakin and she's wandering around pod races and stuff, like that's pretty crazy. And then when she tries to,
angel?
oh my gosh, I did not pick him. When she tries to kind of like give Obi-Wan advice or like direction about something, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" Or Qui-Gon, I guess
Yeah,
is who
Qui-Gon.
she's with. Like, why would I listen to you, the Queen's handmaiden? But she's really the queen, so I liked that. I like how she personally cleaned R2-D2.
Yeah, that was a little bit odd, but yes.
The queen, I think, in the makeup, the decoy queen told her to clean the droid. I don't know. I always wondered like how they communicated. Was she always wanting to do what the decoy queen told her to do, or she can't balk at it? You know, if you had a decoy queen that was mad at you, they could really take advantage of you.
That's a good point.
I also had one more thing about her.
Was it when she went to the Galactic Senate
my
and she
gosh.
said, "I move for a vote of no confidence against
Probably
Chancellor Valorum"?
my favorite quote in all of Star Wars.
Really?
I really like it.
I
It was
do
really
too.
powerful. And she was an unknowing victim of Palpatine when she did that. She didn't know that he was manipulating her into doing that. But it worked perfectly according to his plans.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
my
she's
number
great.
2, Space Leader, Princess Amidala.
From the Clone Wars. All right. Well, there we go. Amber is a big cheat. So my number 2 is a guy. He's a guy from a show.
Is he into chicks?
Yeah, he is.
I
He's
like
confident.
it too. I like it too.
He's confident. He's bold. He's a risk taker. Okay.
Okay.
He loves Earl Grey tea.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
He has a fondness for Shakespeare, and we see him performing it on the holodeck.
Yes, he
We even
does.
see him riding horses on the holodeck. He's bald. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can say this. He's sexy.
I think you can say it.
You know, I mean, put him on the steaminess meter.
Ooh.
Hot damn. Am I right?
I mean, in his prime, yeah.
Yeah. And then this is what put me over the top, Amber, was he's not only a confident leader, but he is really a Renaissance man.
Is that him playing it?
Yeah, this is him and Troy, I believe, playing a little duet in his room.
Wow. Is it Troy or is it the doctor?
It's the doctor.
Wow. He's very sensual in his playing as well. I don't think you've said his name yet.
Oh, it's Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
She stops to say so good in case we weren't sure.
I just really want to get to the end of this.
You're definitely better than you think.
Oh my gosh. Such a smile.
I was
Such a smile and a
I was
sigh.
hoping that he would say something at the end there,
Nope.
but it didn't. He just smiled and was like, "Hey, thanks, doctor."
Oh my
So
gosh.
Jean-Luc Picard is he's obviously the captain of the, what do they call that, the Starship Enterprise.
Yep.
And from the Next Generation, and he bosses people around. What's
Yeah.
his name? Riker. Mm-hmm. And
Riker was happy to be bossed, though.
Yeah.
That's a leader you can respect.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. You know, what's the little kid?
Wesley Crusher?
Wesley Crusher, who I met live at Gen Con.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. And
I would say Wesley's maybe the only one who tried to stand up to Picard sometimes, but it was clear in the show that he was just being foolish.
he's just being. And
I don't-
then there's blind guy,
Geordie LaForge.
Geordie LaForge.
I think that I loved watching Picard. I loved everything about the way that he was portrayed, but it's different than Battlestar Galactica in that he didn't have a lot of obvious flaws. Sometimes he'd have something go wrong with his character, but usually it was because he was inhabited by a crystalline entity or something like that was kind of causing things to go awry.
Yeah, yeah. You know, he didn't have troubles. He knew what
No.
he was doing, and he was very savvy.
Yeah, real savvy.
And I haven't watched a lot of these shows, so this is all just stuff that I'm picking up, just kind of in the ether of pop culture.
Sure.
That I just like the way he carries himself.
Yeah. I mean, you knew there was a blind guy. You must have watched it somewhat.
did, yeah, I did, and I knew that they had to do things. They'd warp things and shoot their blasters and stuff. So
They shot very little, though.
they did. It was mostly politics.
Peace. Peace and politics.
Yeah. So
And the holodeck. The holodeck would cause some problems.
yeah,
boy,
that's
oh
where
boy.
you got your action. was
Yeah.
in the holodeck. So
Luckily, people were as pure as they were in the future, too. So there wasn't more problems on the holodeck.
Oh yeah, I bet some things got pretty interesting on the holodeck. Yeah. I guess I don't really have. He did get taken over by the Borg for a while.
Oh, that
Do you
was
remember
rough.
That?
Yeah,
that was rough.
That was probably the worst he ever got.
Yeah. So anyway, I bet other people could share a lot more about Jean-Luc, but that's what I've got.
Yeah, I don't think you can have a episode about leaders in pop culture without mentioning him.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. There we go.
All right. So my number one leader in space pop culture is related to Picard in that it is Spock.
Oh, I love Spock.
Spock was the first officer and science officer in the original Star Trek. He was Kirk's right-hand guy, kind of like the Riker
Yeah.
of the original.
It's really interesting that you picked.
I just really enjoyed watching him. I think there's something very calm and comforting about him because of his lack of emotion. So he's half human, half Vulcan, and that made it very hard for him to emote. He did over the years get used to emoting more and more, but I also have a hard time with my emotions. I don't think I'm Vulcan, but I sometimes have a hard time expressing myself. So I think I could relate a little bit.
absolutely.
I mean, obviously I'm much warmer and more empathetic than Spock, but I like the way he approached things. I like all the storylines where you had to kind of like figure out, okay, well, it's good that he's being logical, but sometimes we can't be logical. Sometimes we have to think about lives at stake and people's feelings and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I liked all those storylines. I found some interesting tidbits about his character. So he was originally going to be half Martian, and he was going to have
really?
red ears. But Gene Roddenberry was afraid that we, as the human people, would make it to Mars before the show ended, and it wouldn't be realistic. So he changed him to Vulcan. So I really love Gene Roddenberry's faith in humanity that he
Yeah.
thought we would make it to Mars. And he thought his show would be that good.
Wow. That's
Which
amazing.
did he think? We were going to make it to Mars in a couple of years, or that his show was going to be on for 50 years? I'm not sure what he
We're
thought.
still trying. We're still trying to get to Mars.
And there's still iterations of Star Trek.
That's true.
Yeah. So NBC did not like the pointy ears. They thought he looked satanic. And they said that he had to be a background character. He couldn't be a main character. And they even blurred out his ears in the promotional material. But after 8 episodes, due to high fan demand, NBC said there actually wasn't enough Spock to keep up with the Spock mania that was sweeping the
Spock-mania,
nation.
I
So they
love
said
that.
they actually needed to write him in more. And eventually he became so popular that there was rumors that they considered writing Kirk out and continuing with just Spock.
Really?
Which, what's his name, did not like.
Roddenberry?
No.
Whatever his name.
yeah.
Who played Kirk? Yeah.
I can't think of his
Yeah,
name.
I can't either.
So one of the great Spock scenes is in the movie The Wrath of Khan, which they repeated with the new version, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he sacrifices himself to save everybody. So he didn't want to come back for a movie. Sounds like he was a little bit of a diva, but he agreed to do it because he was going to get this dramatic death scene. And then he enjoyed the process of the movie so much that he asked him if they could reverse the death.
Wow.
And so the next movie, The Search for Spock, they're looking for his body, but then they find out he's still alive.
That's
He
right.
ensup
Oh.
coming back. He ends up being in the new movies. He's the only
he's-
character to come back in the new
Yeah,
movies.
he's huge.
So
Bill Shatner.
there you go. Bill Shatner did not want to be written out.
That's so good.
So I just think he was real enjoyable.
Yeah. Who plays him in the new shows?
Zachary Quinto.
I thought it was going to be somebody I knew.
Quinto.
Yeah, well, he's good. I like him.
You do
Like
know him.
I
You
do.
know him
I know him. I mean,
from Heroes and stuff.
oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah. So my number one leader in space pop culture, Spock.
Spock. All right. So that means it's up to me? No, that was it. I did my last
No.
one. Do I have one more?
Yeah.
Let me hold on. Oh, yeah.
Let me hold on.
Let
he
me
says.
hold on.
What other
That's right.
womanizer do you have for us?
Well, let's just say it's definitely another womanizer that I have here. Wait, what's going on here? Okay. Very distracted by YouTube. Keeps showing me different videos
You
of
like that?
Picard playing a flute to it. Oh my goodness.
They've got your number.
Yeah, they know me. Let's see what's happening.
Come. Oh, Commander Darren.
I hope you don't mind me dropping by like this.
No, please, come in. I'm delighted.
That's my guy. Okay,
I
so
thought that was the next guy at first. I'm like, sounds like Star Trek doors.
yeah, Star Trek. That's it. So this is my number one.
Okay.
This is 1987 is when this show came out. No, that's when it was the future year. He got lost in 1987. So this probably came out in the early 80s, late 70s sometime.
Oh.
It was a future. It was called Buck Rogers.
Oh, I never watched that.
Buck Rogers in the 25th century. And this was also in my post Star Wars looking for science fiction. I grabbed onto this. Again, they have super cool spaceships. They've got a lot of cool stuff. Well, Buck Rogers is just an astronaut, just a super cool astronaut. In 1987, he goes up in his spaceship. Something crazy happens. He cryogenically freezes somehow, and he wakes up in the 25th century.
Wow, the 25th century.
Yeah.
That's still a long way from where we are now.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like your third rock from the sun situation because he's a man out of time, right?
Okay.
And so he's still trying to figure out what's going on here, and so but yet he is still like the best fighter pilot and the best fighter, and he's the.
It's amazing because I
best.
would assume the ships have really changed.
Yeah, no, not very much.
Did the world look super futuristic?
Man, I kind of remember the episode that I remember that sticks out in my brain is that they were on this planet, and there were people that were in these like walking cocoons, and they were
Oh.
attacking people. But if you rip the cocoons off, there was just like kind of attractive young people inside of it.
Imagine that.
So, and so he had a crush on Erin Gray. I believe Erin Gray also played Wonder Woman
Oh,
back in the day. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about that one though, but she played Colonel Wilma Deering, and she was attractive. He also had a very short robot friend that was called Twiggy. You remember Twiggy?
no, I never
No?
watched the show.
And then there was an alien named Hawk, and it was as if a human person had mated with a hawk.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of anything super crazy happening, his hair just became hawk feathers.
I was looking at some pictures, and that's the only thing that seemed familiar about this to me is that guy with the hawk feather hair.
Yeah.
I must have just seen like previews or something.
I think his name was Hawk.
Okay.
I don't know what other people from his world were called. Maybe they're all called Hawk, but in human ears, it just all sounds like Hawk. But in their dialect, there's nuance
Did they make like a screeching? Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
That sounds familiar to me.
So the guy who wrote Buck Rogers, his name was Glenn Larson. He was also working on Battlestar Galactica at the time. And so that would have been that 1978 area. And so he gets frozen, and he wakes up, like I said, 5 centuries later, and he finds that he has to rebuild this new world from World War III. And I didn't know that from watching
Ooh,
it,
okay.
but I picked that up from...
Didn't know that from watching it. Not big on exposition or
I don't
backstory.
know if I saw all of them.
Okay.
And so that he had to learn how to get along with these sentient computers, and he had this buddy robots, Twiggy, like I said, and then he just became this swaggering flyboy. And yeah, that's it. I don't really have anything interesting to say about this.
That's cool. That was interesting. I didn't know even that much about that show.
Yeah.
25th century. That's
25th century.
That's a bold thing to think you can make come to screen in 1980 or whatever that was.
Yeah, I was really hoping that would be that it would sound cooler when I was talking about it, but it sounded not as cool.
Actually, it sounded cooler than I thought it would.
Okay. He was really into the ladies. Which is important to me in a space leader.
Yeah.
Okay,
I like it too.
Okay. Segment 2, a quiz.
You don't want to say the name because it'll give away the humor.
Yeah. Okay, Amber. This I'll say the quiz right now.
Okay.
The name of it right now. It's a little something I'm calling Adama or Obama,
Oh my gosh.
and I am going to give you a quote. I'm going to tell you a quote, and you have to tell me, was that Colonel Adama
gosh.
from Battlestar Galactica,
Oh my gosh.
or was that President
Oh my gosh.
Barack Obama? And here's
no.
this is what's going to make it tricky, Amber.
Okay.
They're both great leaders.
They are.
And they both have a lot of wise sayings.
Yes.
And one just happened to be fictional and flying around in a Battlestar ship out
Okay.
in space,
Okay.
looking for Earth, and one was the leader of the free world. For reals.
For real.
For reals. Are you ready? Do you
I'm ready.
feel good? I have got 10 of these.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see how Amber does. There's a reason you separate military and the police. One fights the enemies of the state, the other serves and protects the people. When the military becomes both, then the enemies of the state tend to become the people.
Ooh.
Was that Colonel Adama or President Obama? The reason
I'm
you
trying to remember if they refer to police very often in Battlestar Galactica. There's definitely problems with the military in both the real world and Battlestar. But because of the word police, I'm going to go with Obama.
I'm sorry, Amber.
Dang it.
That was Colonel Adama.
All right.
And I'm just going to notate that you missed that one. Okay, number 2. The future rewards those who press on. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to complain. I'm going to press on.
Oh, I don't think that Obama should have said that if he did, because I feel like people would take offense. Like, what do you mean? I can't feel sorry for myself? I don't know. I'm going to say Adama, because it doesn't sound modern day political.
Amber, I'm sorry. That is Obama.
Wow, I should be careful what I say before I say it.
That's great. No, I like it. Okay, so Amber,
I'm wrong
you're
for wrong.
0 out of 2, and I mentioned in the past that I wanted to make my quizzes a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Adama was going to be Adama or Obama was going to be it. Okay, number 3.
Oh, boy.
Here's the next quote. If the people cannot trust their government to do the job for which it exists, to protect them and to promote their common welfare, all else is lost.
If the people cannot trust the government to... Obama put some uhs in there when he talks. I think it's Obama. President
Amber,
Obama.
that is correct.
Boom.
That is President Barack Obama. So you got one right.
Okay.
Okay, great job. Number 4. It's not enough to survive. One has to be worthy of survival.
Whoa. That I feel like I can see the weathered jowls of Adama saying that one. I'm going to go Adama.
Amber, you are correct.
All
That
right.
one is Colonel Adama. Okay, but we'll see. I think this one's going to get a little bit more challenging.
Okay, more challenging.
Finally. You cannot play God then wash your hands of the things that you've created. Sooner or later, the day comes when you can't hide from the things that you've done anymore.
Whoa. I mean, Adama could be talking about Cylons, but would Obama also be talking about something? I mean, we've certainly created things we can't hide from, but I'm going to go with Adama.
You are correct, Amber.
Right.
That one was Adama. I think you found their voices.
I hope so.
I think you've got it. So let's see if you continue. Number 6. We love freedom. We love independence. To feel, to question, to resist oppression. Is that Adama or Obama?
I don't think they had as much freedom in space. I mean, they were always under attack. They had some pretty tight leadership. I don't know. There was the back and forth with the president. I'm going to say it's actual President Obama.
Amber, I'm sorry. That was Colonel Adama.
Ugh.
So, no, I liked it because it had independence.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Freedom.
It makes
sounded
you think of America.
like maybe it was like a 4th of July kind of
absolutely.
speech or something. Okay, ready? Is this my longest quote?
Okay.
Yes. Okay. We, the people, recognize that we have responsibilities as well as rights, that our destinies are bound together, that a freedom which only asks what's in it for me, a freedom without a commitment to others, a freedom without love or charity or duty is unworthy of our founding ideals and those who died in their defense. Is that Adama or is that Obama?
I think it's a good one. I'm going to say President Obama.
Amber, you are correct.
Phew.
Crushing it here. Yeah. As I read it out loud, I was like, man, it sounds very presidential.
It does, but I could see Adama on the deck giving a speech right before they go to battle or something. Yeah.
We gotta stand up for those who died in the defense.
Lots of people
Freedom.
died in that show.
Yeah,
Lots
almost
of people.
everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, number 8. Freedom of choice. To choose between one thing or another, between one action or another, between good and evil, is the cornerstone of our civilization.
Civilization. That's an interesting way to say it. Freedom to choose. Maybe that was also related to Cylons. I'm going to say Adama for that one.
Amber, you're crushing it. That is Adama.
Boom.
Boom. Let's see what's going on here.
You're right, Q. You gave me the chance to change, and I took the opportunity. But I admit now, it was a mistake.
Man, Q was one of my favorite Star Trek villains. He was for sure my favorite Star Trek
was
villain. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just got videos playing over there, and I'll just turn it up.
What if
something
what
looks-
if the listeners can just hear them the entire time when we're
That would-
talking
that
because
would
the
be-
audio's mixed up?
That would be very disappointing, but I think I know a little bit better than that.
I think you do too.
I do too. So, Amber, are you ready for number 9?
I'm ready for number 9.
This one's one of the ones. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones who we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek.
Oh man. I mean, Obama's big thing was change, but it also feels like Battlestar, they're the last hope. They're the ones. You can't wait for somebody else. I'm going to say President Obama.
Amber, you are correct. I think you won this quiz. Started out poorly, but
No,
you
it was
really
close.
Yeah, one more.
Okay.
And this is the 10th one. We proved that we are still a people capable of doing big things and tackling our biggest challenges.
I don't think you had to prove that on Battlestar because it just every day was a huge challenge. So I'm going to say that was President Obama.
Amber, wow. You crushed it. I think you missed 3.
Really? I felt like I missed more than that.
1,
The
2.
first
You
two.
missed 3.
Wow.
So you got 7 out of 10.
That's amazing.
You really know Obama and Adama.
So our top leader in pop culture space, President Obama.
Exactly.
Another man would have rather died than ask for help.
Oh, nice one.
I understand.
Couldn't have timed that.
What I like about that show is that even in the silence, there's always that hum in the background.
Because the ship's running. What are you going to
Ship's
do?
running.
That's like keeping them alive in space. You want them to turn it off?
No, I don't.
You're right, though. I like it, too. Oh, Well, thanks everybody for joining us. This was a fun episode. We would like to hear from you. Leave us feedback on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at SegmentsCast, or you can email us segmentscast@gmail.com. Who are your space leaders? Who did we leave out?
Take me to your leader.
Who's the obvious choice, assuming that we were talking about TV shows and leaders? Who did you like from the shows we mentioned?
What things about our leaders did we get wrong?
Yeah, give us some corrections. We love corrections.
Yes. So correct me about that whole Buck Rogers thing. I don't really know what's going on with that guy, but he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Spaceship. Not as cool as the Vipers, but still very cool.
Right.
Well, you're here, aren't you? You're talking to me, aren't you?
So we would love it if you look us up and subscribe. It really helps us if you subscribe on your podcast player of choice. I mentioned before that Pocket Cast is now free, so you can use that if you want to. We'd also love it if you follow Brian's example and share the show with others. The only way new people find out about the show is with you guys and as you share the show. So if you think that we're funny, well, no, we're not funny anymore. We are entertainment now.
And funny.
We're comedy.
Humorous.
Humorous. Yes. We're like a New Yorker comic strip.
Yeah.
It's not really funny, but it's
Yeah.
the best part of that magazine. Probably not. Inappropriate. Sorry. So we would like to thank Emma for the logo and graphics. If you want her to draw you a little something, she is taking commissions. You can contact her through our email, segmentscast@gmail.com.
And thank you to our nephew Gabriel. He is EDM Samurai. He provides our intro and outro music. You can find him on SoundCloud at EDM Samurai.
You did.
When I realized the paradox.
Exactly. For that one fraction of a second, you were open to options you had never considered. That is the exploration that awaits you.
Wow.
I like how each line is uttered with such significance and weight. You expect that to be the end, and then they just say another line with the same gravitas.
Gravitas. That's so good. So, all right. Well, Amber, maybe it's time for us to go watch a couple of episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation.
I think so.
You said loving Jesus?